So once more, Starfield rumors are beginning to pick up because, of course, Bethesda spent more than a couple weeks without talking about the game publicly, so that means everyone's going to start rumoring about what's going on. And this time, a number of different recent events are kind of stirring fans in multiple different directions as to what's going on with the development of Starfield. But for myself, the rumor mill is starting to get a little exhausting, and I'm going to be explaining why later on in this video. But like the current phase of the MCU, these rumors are pretty boring and uneventful, and we're going to talk about that. So why am I tired of these rumors? Why am I not buying into any of them? And quite frankly, why is it to me all just a bunch of hoopla and noise? We're going to get into that. But first, the rumors themselves. A number of you might have seen some recent talks about Starfield being potentially delayed a second time into the second half of 2023. I've seen more content creators talking about this. They're spreading the rumor, and honestly, in some ways, I do genuinely think that it's doing more harm than good. It's spreading possible disinformation. Like all rumors, it's based on a limited number of sources. In this case, it's admittedly coming from some bigger personalities like Mr. Matty Plays, but nothing is definitive. We're going to explore that. It's all very wishy-washy. It's sort of making sure that all your bases are covered. No matter what happens, the rumor's technically correct, and therefore the source was right. It's a bit BS-y to me personally. So I know that some might be rushing down in the comment section to say, but Tamako, you're talking about it too. But my intention here, I know it's a secondary effect of this video. My intention is not to spread the rumor. It's really to sort of put my foot down and give my genuine thoughts about it. Now, there's a couple interesting things to note about this delayed Starfield rumor. The first of which is that it's actually nothing new. People have been saying this as far back, I think, as October, possibly earlier. I myself made a video discussing this very subject in November. It's not that long ago. Not 2 months is not a long time, and still some of those points hold true. In fact, arguably, it's more true now that we have additional information. That video was done before the Game Awards, and then after the fact, we were speculating. Maybe there's going to be an Xbox Games Showcase sometimes in January, maybe February, and it's since been confirmed January 25th, we're getting the very first Xbox Developer Direct. Now, I know that Starfield is not going to be showing up at that event, but it's been explicitly stated, and good on Bethesda and Xbox for sharing this and being transparent with their community, that Starfield is going to get its own dedicated event after the Developer Direct because it deserves that much time. And we do know as a community, it's pretty safe to say at this point that Starfield is Xbox's most important title of 2023. I think that goes without saying. When I say it's a bit tiresome, it's simply because any time that Bethesda goes silent for any amount of time, people will start spreading all different kinds of info. Delayed rumors are included. We saw this when there was a bit of a gap between the Into the Starfield videos. We saw this in under a month. Literally, less than a month had passed since the first Starfield Q&A video, and people started jumping on top of comments that Starfield's in development hell, that it's going to get delayed, that Bethesda needs to share information now, and a lot of people start assuming that they understand how marketing works better than Bethesda and Xbox's own internal, fully staffed, fully trained, probably majored in that field marketing team. They don't. They don't. Slow down. Everything is fine. Just breathe, relax. No news is good news, and we have a conference that's upcoming. But there's a second caveat. The second caveat with this rumor in particular is that it's stemming, or the resurgence of this rumor is that it's stemming for what can be seen as a credible source. In an episode of Defining Duke, Mr. Matty Plays specified that he has a source claiming Starfield could get bumped out of the first half of 2023. But I want you to listen to his language, to pay very close attention to how he phrases it, what he says, the quotes that he provides. There's a lot of maybe in it. Have a listen.
Out and a half?
Yes, possibly. Possibly. Still summer, but possibly out of the first half. I just was told it may not be the first half. I didn't really poke around as much because I genuinely wasn't, again, sure if I wanted to report fully on it, but it was one of those things where I was like, well, I'm a big believer in like just information. This source is someone I trust quite a bit, and they've been very correct. And for those who trust my KOTOR stuff, this is the person that verified that stuff in the past, and that sort of stuff was 100% spot on. Yeah, Starfield is getting the possible bump out of the first half because it's currently undated. They could go through a test and go like, you know, it is ready. It's just very up in the air in that regard. But I didn't get this degree of concern from it, like, oh, it's screwed right now. And I think what this is kind of that back against the wall, high pressure Xbox exclusive kind of energy where they need to nail it.
What you'll notice when you listen to this clip is that nothing here is definitive. There's no concrete details that are given. Every single statement is back and forth. Yes, it could release on time, or alternatively, it could get pushed back, but it's possible it might not. And the fact that Starfield is undated doesn't mean a single thing. Now, I'm not making this video trying to state that Starfield is going to release on time. The fact of the matter is, I don't know. Nobody really knows, and in fact, Bethesda themselves might not even know, because the reality of the situation is that the progress and whether or not the game's going to get delayed is going to depend on whether or not the studio is hitting certain milestones throughout the process. And if they're not, they're going to need to delay it again. And they might not even know because they haven't gotten to those milestones. They need to wait and see. Yes, Microsoft, Bethesda, they can absolutely just put out a blog post or put out a tweet and talk about when their release date is at any point in time, but they're not going to do that. I've spoken specifically about marketers at Xbox, marketing staff that have stated how much goes into announcing a release date. Yes, they could just put on a social media post, or alternatively, they can make the events a lot more memorable. They can make the reveal a lot more significant and exciting for both the developers who have spent years of their lives working on this game, and more memorable for us, the fans. And they could do that at an event such as the Starfield Games Showcase that's taking place, the exclusive event for Starfield taking place after the first ever Xbox Developers Direct. It's going to be more exciting, it's going to be more memorable. That's where we'll probably see a definitive release date. That's probably what they're waiting for to give us more information on the game, and that's probably the reason why Bethesda is going as silent as they are, because they need to spend the time and the resources capturing the footage to have an epic, awesome reveal there, instead of doling it out slowly over time like they have been. Now, to Maddie's credit, and like I said, he does explain that they could run some tests and the game's actually good to go and it releases on schedule. And truthfully, I like Maddie. I like his content. I like his videos, and I'd be lying. I think it's pretty obvious that I wear my inspiration on my sleeve, Maddie being a huge influence on how I run this channel. But I do think that this information is just kind of stirring up unnecessary rumor. There's no certainty to this. There's no definitive claims, nothing that makes a stance outside of a delay being possible, which is true for every single game that's ever going to release in the history of the entirety of games development moving forward. A delay is always possible. And so there's nothing really here. And he does say he believes in information and he trusts in his source, but I just don't understand. There's nothing to buy into. Now, what you might also find interesting, and this is something a little bit smaller, it doesn't definitively say that Starfield's releasing on time either, but I did say there's a few interesting things. Starfield cover art, Starfield art is actually getting placed on Xbox console boxes that they come in China, I believe, which doesn't unquestionably say that this is going to be coming in the first half of 2023, but it is Bethesda or Microsoft starting up their marketing cycle for Starfield. That absolutely is a part of marketing, having that box art there. So again, not definitive, but it does lean in that direction. I will say that, combined with the fact that Starfield's official website still states the game is releasing in the first half of 2023, sort of proves to me that there's nothing to worry about. No news is good news. So how much faith to put in these rumors is, if it's not obvious already? None. None, absolutely none. Once again, like in my last video, there's no real evidence besides a few insiders, unverified insiders, that are saying there's going to be a delay. Other than that, nothing. In fact, most of the evidence points towards the game releasing within their planned window. The most recent thing that we've heard is that playtesters actually think the game is better than they thought it would be, and that in no capacity says delay, at least in my opinion. That's a pretty good turnaround, considering the last thing that we heard from somewhat maybe more official of an insider was that the game needed a lot of polish and it was unfinished and the flight didn't feel so great. So the fact that people are saying it's good spells good things to me. In about a week, Xbox is going to be showing up with their first ever developer direct conference talking about upcoming titles such as Redfall. It's already been confirmed Starfield's getting their own showcase afterwards in order to give it the time that it deserves on stage, and any information regarding a release date is going to be done at that conference, not before. And if it's not there, then yeah, let's start talking about delays and that kind of thing. But whether it's to polish or whether it's to add more things into the game, if they need to make a delay, that's perfectly fine. We understand, and Xbox understands that this needs to be a hit. It's their most important game of 2023. The fans want a good title after Fallout 76, which yes, it's gotten better, but still has left a sour taste in players' mouths. So let's try to get Bethesda back on track, releasing these monumental industry defining titles, and I think Starfield absolutely has the potential to do that. Xbox is going to be willing to give them the time it needs in order to accomplish that goal as well. So again, not saying there's not going to be delay, but just until we get some sort of official, actual, legitimate information, let's not start hopping on that train. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I hope to see you all next time. So long, everybody.